For more information on VAT and GCC, especially KSA, please subscribe our channel, share the video and comment on it. Thank you. KSA VAT Law. Implementing Regulations. Article 8, Application for Registration. 1. An application for registration must be made by completion of the form prescribed by the authority. 2. Any application must contain the following minimum information. A. Official name of the legal person or natural person and ID information if the person is a natural person. B. Physical address of regular abode or place of business. C. Email address. D. Existing electronic identification number issued by the authority, if any. E. Commercial registration number, if any. F. Value of annual supplies or annual expenses. G. Effective date of registration, or any alternative effective date requested. 3. The authority may request the person to provide documentation, in electronic or physical form, to verify that the information in the application is valid and that the person is eligible to be registered. The person must be given 20 days, as a minimum, from the date of request to provide this documentation. 4. The authority may refuse an application for registration where it does not have evidence that the application is valid or that the person is eligible to be registered. A notification of refusal must be provided to the person making the application. 5. Upon acceptance of the registration, the authority will issue a certificate of registration to the person in a notification. This certificate will state the date on which the registration takes effect, and the tax identification number. 6. The authority will maintain a register containing the relevant details of all taxable persons who are registered in the kingdom. 7. Where any of the taxable person's information changes from that provided in the application or otherwise currently recorded, that person is required to notify the authority of the change within 20 days of that change taking place. 8. A resident person who is a taxable person and who is registered with the authority must display the registration certificate at such taxable person's main place of business and branches in a manner that is visible to the general public. Article 9, Registration Provisions applying to specific circumstances. 1. A person who at any time has annual supplies made in the kingdom whose value exceeds the mandatory registration threshold, which are exclusively zero-rated supplies, is excluded from the requirement to register. A person who falls under this paragraph may elect to apply to register voluntarily. 2. In cases where two or more related persons carry on similar or related activities, the authority may issue a notification requiring that the value of their annual supplies be added within a specified duration, and this combined figure be used as each person's annual supplies value. 3. Every non-resident person who registers in the kingdom must by itself or through a tax representative approved in accordance with Article 77 of these regulations use the application form prescribed by the authority. The particulars of this tax representative, if any, must be listed on the application form. 4. A non-resident person who changes their tax representative must notify the authority within 20 days of the change taking place. 5. Any activity exercised by a government body in its capacity as a public authority shall not be considered to be an economic activity for the purposes of the law and these regulations. In cases where a government body, or an entity owned by the government, carries out activities which involve making supplies of goods or services in a capacity other than its capacity as a public authority, that government body or entity shall be regarded as carrying on an economic activity. 6. Employed in other persons insofar as they are bound to an employer by contract or by any other legal ties creating the relationship of employer and employee as regards working conditions, remuneration, and the employer's liability, are not considered to be carrying on an economic activity for the purpose of registration under the law and these regulations. 7. A person who supplies or intends to supply real estate will be presumed to carry on an economic activity for the purpose of registration under the law and these regulations, except in cases where prior to the supply the real estate was used or was intended for use as a permanent dwelling by the person, or by a person who is related to such person within the meaning of the second paragraph of Article 37 of these regulations.